Life of Pi begins in the sun-drenched streets of Pondicherry, India. A curious boy named Piscine Molitor Patel grows up surrounded by the exotic animals of his family's zoo. The colonial architecture frames his childhood like the bars of the animal enclosures, both protective and limiting. Tired of schoolmates mocking his unusual name, he strategically shortens it to Pi, finding identity in this mathematical symbol that continues infinitely without resolution. The dusty zoo grounds become his classroom, where he learns about animal behavior and delicate balance between wildness and captivity. At the same time, he wanders through temples, churches, and mosques, embracing Hinduism, Christianity, and Islam simultaneously, much to the confusion of his secular parents and religious leaders. They meet awkwardly in a public garden, a space that represents the intersection of Pi's multiple faiths. Aboard the Japanese cargo ship Tsimtsum, crossing the Pacific Ocean, teenage Pi watches his past disappear as his family relocates to Canada with their zoo animals. The metal vessel cuts through vast waters that will soon become Pi's universe. His father has sold the zoo, planning to start anew in North America, following political turmoil in India. The ship's industrial corridors and cramped cabins contrast sharply with the lush environment Pi left behind. One stormy night, violent waves crash against the hull, and Pi finds himself rushing to the deck. Standing in driving rain as the ship groans and tilts beneath him, he witnesses the beginning of a disaster. Before he can find his family, he is thrown into a lifeboat by crew members, becoming the sole human survivor as the ship slips beneath the surface, taking with it his family and former life. Drift across the endless blue expanse of the Pacific Ocean, where Pi finds himself sharing a lifeboat with an unlikely crew: a spotted hyena, an injured zebra, an orangutan named Orange Juice, and most terrifyingly, a 450-pound Bengal tiger named Richard Parker. The small boat becomes an arena of natural selection as the hyena kills the zebra and orangutan before being dispatched by the tiger. The wooden planks beneath Pi's feet form the boundary of his new existence, a floating zoo where he must establish dominance to survive. Using his knowledge of animal behavior and makeshift training tools fashioned from limited supplies, Pi marks territory on the boat and trains Richard Parker to recognize him as the alpha. The vast ocean surrounding them serves as both prison and highway, carrying them toward an uncertain destination. Beneath the merciless sun that beats down on their small craft, Pi establishes a remarkable survival routine. The lifeboat transforms into a complex ecosystem, with the tarpaulin creating separate territories: Richard Parker's domain and Pi's small platform built of oars and life jackets. The endless horizon becomes both torment and meditation space as Pi battles thirst, starvation, and despair. He fashions fishing equipment from found objects, collects rainwater, and even feeds the tiger to maintain their precarious coexistence. In his most desperate moments, the boat becomes an altar where Pi directs prayers to gods from all three of his religions. During violent storms that threaten to capsize them, the boat becomes a fragile sanctuary at the mercy of towering waves that seem to reach toward heaven itself. Float alongside their boat as it encounters a mysterious, carnivorous island. The floating landmass covered in algae initially appears as salvation, with its fresh pools of water and abundant meerkats. Pi and Richard Parker disembark gratefully onto this strange shore that undulates slightly beneath their feet. During daylight hours, the island offers nourishment and recovery, but Pi discovers its deadly secret when darkness falls. The island's ground turns acidic at night, dissolving anything that remains on its surface. Walk along the Mexican beach where Pi and Richard Parker finally reach land after 227 days at sea. The golden sand represents the end of their shared ordeal as the weakened tiger stumbles from the boat without looking back at his human companion. This unceremonious parting leaves Pi with complex emotions as he watches Richard Parker disappear into the jungle without acknowledging their bond. Soon after, Pi is discovered by local villagers who take him to a hospital where Japanese maritime officials interview him. When they express disbelief at his incredible story, Pi offers them an alternative version of events, a darker tale of human survivors' murder and cannibalism. The hospital room becomes a confessional space where truth and storytelling merge, leaving his listeners and readers to decide which version to believe. This duality reflects Pai's multiple religious faiths and suggests that sometimes the more fantastic story might be the one that helps us better understand the truth of our human experience.